Okay, so here we are again. Here's Calum, fantastic model. He's got a new vocation in life, and I'm delighted that he's able to sit again now. So this is the third stage of this painting, and as I look at it, there are things I want to enhance. There's something that I love about watercolor that we don't often feel like watercolor is dynamic and dramatic, but actually you can bring in really strong color and like make your pigment rich and colourful, and that's what I want to do now. I want to bring even more warmth into the skin and possibly invent a colour for the top that's maybe a bit bluer than the grey that's there, you know. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it would be quite nice as a contrast to the painting, to have a blue as a complementary colour to the skin. Okay, so off we go again now. This is quite good actually. Having I didn't expect to be able to paint from a model during this time. Okay. Calum's Erin's boyfriend, so he's around. Are you quite happy there now? Yeah. The position and everything, your back is okay? Alright. So off we go. And I did want to do it. I'm going to remind myself to stand back a lot more often. And I'll also go for the 2-inch brush. You know, I don't think I used the 2-inch flat brush at all in the last stage. And if you didn't see the first 2 steps, you can have a look at them. The links will be below. Okay. I mean, you could speed it up. That's what we do when we look at the picture at the video afterwards. Just kind of speed it up. But if you want to listen to the carry-on that happens as well, you might want to just play the whole thing. Maybe when you're painting along. I used to quite enjoy doing that with the Sky Arts thing, to just listen into the conversation people were having and have my breakfast or something, and you know, it's quite a social thing to have chat going on. I think especially now when it's not possible to really go to a coffee shop or anything, at least in the UK still. It's quite nice to listen into conversation that's not your own, in your own house. Alright, let's see now. So that was some of the Jackson's orange that I bought into the skin in general, just to warm it all up a little bit. And it makes me want to then go up with some maybe burnt sienna into the hair. I should really have a scrap bit of paper here to show you the colours. So that's the cat tearing the seat. So that's burnt sienna there. Maybe put it there. That's burnt sienna, that's it there. So it's kind of, it warms up. Oh, Margot's making, she's gone over to Maisie. Cat is getting a lot more, I just want to show you there. You can have a look at, like, the cat, Margot's getting a lot more kind of curious about Maisie. She probably thinks it's a different dog now, she looks so different. Good girl, Maisie. This is a huge departure because normally Maisie would be racing after Margot trying to eat her tail. So this is quite good to see that. But this video isn't about animals. So we're back up here again now. I'm just kind of interested to see that. That's never before happened. Maybe Margot feels that she's less threatening with less hair. I don't know. Oh, I've moved the door. Right, Maisie, be good now. Good girl, that's it. Good girl, Maisie. Look, there she is again. Good girl, that's it. Okay. Yeah, so I was bringing some burnt sienna into the hair. Having bought some of the orange into the skin, I want to keep bringing this kind of feeling of warmth around, up and around the back there. I was up this morning driving around. I thought I'd like to do a bit of landscape painting, and it's just with the trees and the greenery all around it is flourishing so much. It's really inspiring there's some lovely views, like vistas through tree trunks kind of over the hills and things. So if I can manage to bring this yoke with the iPad with me, I'll be doing some videos out and about of the landscape as well. And you know, it really does make me commit more to my own practice if I know that I'm making a video. I know that might sound a little bit pathetic, but whatever works. No, it's not pathetic. I think it's just that it's the sense of community, that I feel like there's more than just myself invested in me doing something that's halfway decent. Yeah, I'm just working with others creatively is always inspiring, I find, even just for the chatter, like for the conversation that happens. So in the absence of someone at the other end of the conversation, I still feel like I'm talking to people who would have come to my workshops, and that makes the whole thing feel more natural then. Okay. So I was saying to Calum, I wasn't wanting to labour this now, so I'm going to stand back often so that I can really tell whether I'm actually adding to it or just putting something down for the sake of it. I think I will do that lovely collar on the top though. So I quite like here how it's kind of coming down like that, and there's the cavity between the collar and the neck. So I'm making that with the ultramarine blue and the Van Dyke brown, and it makes it, like I was saying about it being dynamic and dramatic, the watercolour there is like Indian ink, isn't it? And then of course this all sorts of colours run into it, but it's okay. That was just Viridian green and cadmium red that ran in, and I think it's going to be fine. Now I'm still using the 2-inch brush, and that's probably a bad idea for that bit because it's too small to describe with the 2-inch brush. However, this side looks like I could use that bigger brush, and it's just, I think, any excuse to stick with the big brush is a good idea. I didn't expect that trip. Okay. Yeah, I didn't expect it and don't really want it, so I'll just lift it off, at least there. Okay. And it's again causing a bit more dark up there, just dark there, there and there kind of thing. And then the top of the top at the inside of the top there comes about as high up as that part of the chin, just under the shadow of the chin. I know I said I shouldn't stick with the big brush, but I did. So now I've moved on to the slightly smaller one to have a bit more control over that edge, because that is an important edge, the back of the neck. I don't want to just have a flowery kind of edge there. I want it to be nice and clear. And then fill in that space a little bit more. And then here, where the collar kind of bends over and comes towards me a little bit, I want to find that edge, and then as it comes down for the zip. And here's where I want to bring in some more colour. Now the choice is whether to use, I just put some kitchen paper up to show you what my choices are. So I might use something like that, which is I think is a Prussian blue. I'm going to put that kitchen paper there so that I can show you the colours I'm trying out. So the choice for the top would be something like that, which is off the freaking thing. Sorry. Yeah, you can't see my kitchen paper at all. I'll just show you here. So it's either that, like, which is kind of like, I think it's a Prussian blue for this bit, which I think would work actually. It was either that or the ultramarine blue, and I've enough of the ultramarine blue, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to go for that. I think it's Prussian. I just quite like the contrast to that. I mean, it's quite a deep tone, isn't it? I think I'd get away with it. It shifts the painting in a different direction. doing there now? Oh, yeah, so that's actually going to come up like this. And there. And then the back of the collar will be back a little bit further. And then the shoulder will come up so that it would cut through it there. I'm pulling up and lifting so that some spontaneous stuff happens, because when I'm trying to control it and figure it all out too much, sometimes it can just end up being a bit boring or something. So this now isn't skin anymore, so I'm just going to lift off as much as I can the orangey colour underneath that, and I might need to re-establish it. I might need to bring back that blue into that area again and re-establish the clean edge of the neckline. But in the meantime, I'll just put a bit more of that blue in here, I think. And maybe for that shoulder. So that shoulder is about there. And then comes down like that. Yeah, that's fine. I'll probably sit, like the neck is probably back a little further than I've got it. And I think I will make that adjustment because I can, and I know that it's there, so I may as well. I can eat into it while it's still a little bit wet. Yeah, I'm just going to push it back a little bit there so that the neck could sit there rather than further forward. And these are things that when it's dry I can adjust a little bit more. Oh, crashing into the wall. Okay, oh yeah, I was talking about the catch lights in the eyes. Try and lift out some of that, the brightness that's there with the window shining on Calum's eyes. So I'm using the corners. This brush has got some clean water on it, and I'm using one corner and then the other to lift off, and then I'll maybe just print it and see if I can get back to as white as I can, and do the same in the other eye, and then we can re-establish the pupils again. Just felt like there needed to be a bit more contrast in the eye area. But I'm going to let it completely alone until it's dry enough now, because I don't want the pupil to be blurry. Okay. And a bit more of the blue and brown mix will give me eyelash colour again. I'll just stand back and see, is that what I want to do? Yeah. So, here we are. It's dark here. Yeah. Maybe a bit more dark here. And I know I said I wouldn't go back for the pupil, but I'm just going to do that. I think it's dry enough to get it clear. There we are. And then this side too. A little bit more. I think I should have dried off this side. I forgot to print that so the white is bleeding. Just let that alone for a little while. I'm going to bring it a bit closer because I'm working on some details there in the eyes, and it might be good to see it a bit more close up. I'm sure there's a way of doing this after the video as well, but sure. I'll just do it like this for now. There we are. Okay. Yeah, so the eyes. I think because I put the pupil in a bit early there in this eye, I'm going to lift out the white again. Okay. Just keep the clean water near me this time. Alright, I felt that there was some more could be done with the nose. This is where your nose gets really itchy, Cal. Okay, that happens sometimes with models, that if you're talking through a demonstration or something and they're saying which bit you're working on, it gets unbearably uncomfortable, that bit. That's what they used to say, and so I'm just finding some of the smaller shadow shapes here so that I can explain the form a little bit more. Calum was being kind and saying that he got sunburn yesterday, so that's maybe what I'm picking up on in his nose. Seems to be Maisie's favourite spot is under the table. She's settled down there for a long time, if she's left alone. I feel like I was getting a little bit fiddly, so I've moved up to a slightly bigger brush. And standing back again is the thing to do when I feel fiddly. When I stood back, I wanted to do some adjusting here. Maybe here too. Say in the artist way, they said a painting is never finished, it simply stops in interesting places. I find that's the case with portraits. At a certain point you could stop, I can just leave it alone. But then there's something, you could keep going and capture, highly detailed, a highly detailed image of the person's face, or you could let parts of it be really detailed and parts of it still loose and free. I think that's my preference, to kind of go for fine detail in places and then still have the kind of loose, free expression elsewhere. But it's not a given. Like you can err on the side of, you can tip the balance fairly simply into overworking it or making the eyes read as being wonky, or there's lots of traps that could fall into. So it's important not to do too much, I find. Just keep it simple. Alright, so I'll give a bit more shape to the mouth as well. And the upper lip to me reads as being a little bit darker than the lower lip still. Or at least I know that that's helpful, to make it darker than the lower lips to create a feeling of form in that area. And mixing cadmium red and ultramarine blue together in order to establish that edge just there where the lips meet the skin. And when you're painting lips in this 3/4 view, it's important to notice what happens at the corner of the mouth there. As the face turns around, the mouth also turns around, and that's why I found it helpful to put the triangle of skin beyond the mouth to explain that. But again, that seems today to be lighter than it was before, so I'm going to lighten it up. Actually, I think it helps for the skin here to be lighter than the lips are. I think Maisie is doing a bit of chasing there up the stairs, but the cats can get higher than she can anyway, so okay. Yeah, that was Maisie. Okay, how long have we been? Oh, 20 minutes already, Con. So I'm going to lift off the skin here a little bit. It is a bit of a test on the core muscles, like I would say, which are fairly well honed on you anyway. I don't think you've got any trouble there, just keeping your back straight. I'll lift off some of the skin here. There's a nice bit of light falling in there. Alright, and then, so what about that now? Yeah, I think the thing is that here, this is reading as quite red, so I want to, and it stands out then. So rather than retract the colour, I want to first put in something deeper down here, in the shadow underneath the lower lip there, if that's a bit darker. I think that's going to mean that the colour will read as less dramatic in the lips. I'm just going to move around, so standing back, there. Now the good exercise is to take photographs on your phone in order to see the painting as though from a distance. Or I see some people using a mirror to see the painting backwards so that you can see it freshly again. So looking at it in the mirror. But I'm just kind of wanting today to keep the momentum up now, so I'm not going to bother stopping, but I'll keep myself advancing and retreating at the easel so that I can keep that general view. I know I said before that I would do a bit more in the ear, but I think it's actually, I'm getting away with it, I think, so if it's not broken, don't fix it. I might just leave it. Yeah, could bring a bit of warmth in. Okay. I'm keeping an eye out for my attitude here. I want to be sure that I'm staying curious and not just ticking boxes and going around the head, and you know, in with a complacency about me. I want to keep fresh and clear. I'm just seeing if there's anything that really needs attention. And then the best thing I would say to do for us is to leave it alone. And if there's anything small that needs to be done, it'll be screaming out by next week. So best, I think, to just call it a day. Once I've made the lips a little less bright here, just going to reduce the colour of the lips a little bit. I wonder if that's horrible when you think, yes, I'm finished, and then I say, once I've done that. It's really much better to just, I can say you're finished when you're finished and not before. Something about that eye. It's like the inner corner needs to be further in. almost done. Just drying off that area because I want to make a distinction between the upper and lower lip, but I'll just let it dry for a minute, and while it's drying I'll do something a bit more significant here. Slightly deeper tone, just to break up the area here. I was gonna try to make your eyes less sleepy, wasn't I? That was one of the things I was gonna do, and I don't think I did anything there. So it won't be ages now, but I'll just make it a bit clearer, the pupil, I think, bringing the pupil down a bit more. Yeah, and your eyes are wide open, like. So it's just the way that the eyelids have been painted so that they're overlapping the iris too much, maybe. I'm just going to open them up a little bit, and here too, while keeping the brightness of the window shining on the iris. Quite hard opening your eyes to the light like that, I'd say, Calum, is it? Keeping your eyes open with the window so bright. Oh. You're like Erin with your eyelashes. You've got lovely long eyelashes. I remember people saying that when Erin was a baby you could sweep the streets with her eyelashes. But it's not something that I ever really focused too much on in a painting, so I'm lifting them off a little bit here, because I think sometimes the eyelashes can be a bit distracting if they're made too significant. Just as long as there's a dark to identify the two directions of the upper eyelash line, that's enough, I reckon. So I'm going to lighten these on this side as well. Okay, final move over here so that we know this is iris. I think that's okay. Okay, I said final move, but there is a tiny thing more I want to do to make the lips clearer, and that'll be us then. 29. Okay, so it's another half an hour again. It'll bring us nicely up to the 30-minute mark. And I'd say I'll stop then, for good and glory. Know what Maisie's doing there now. There's quite a lot of action happening up there. Oh, she's back down again. Okay, I hope when I go around there now I'm not going to see 40 more things that need to be done like last time. But of course it's up quite close. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much, Calum, for posing for these 3 separate steps. I think that's it done now. Have a look at the links below to see steps 1 and 2, and be in touch. You know, leave a comment or get in touch on Facebook or by email. My name is Aine Divine. I'm coming to you from near Roslin in Scotland. Okay, all the best. Bye. And thanks very much, Calum. Great job.